data and experimentation instead of assumption. As I keep saying, assumption is a very dangerous thing. These days, you go one-on-one to know. The book is saying, get your direct feedback from your customers instead of assuming that this my product will do well. Then innovation accounting, a framework for measuring progress and tracking key metrics. They are very, very important. Let's go to the next slide. Benefit of test. Reduces risk. By testing assumption and iterating, you can reduce the risk of launching a product that don't meet customers' need. By the time you have carried your tests, carried out your feedback mechanism, and you analyze and you see that there's no way out here, the earlier you realize it, the better, to save you money. Then, and the earlier you realize that you're not doing well, the earlier you change direction or change on the quality of what you're doing. Faster iteration. Lean startup encourages rapid experimentation and iteration, allowing you to adapt quickly to changing market conditions. That's the truth. In this case, the more you carry out your test, the better you know what the market condition is all about. And the earlier you do that and improve on your product or adjust, the better. Improved product, market fit. By understanding customers' need and validation assumptions, you can create products that better meet market demands. Test. You must test the water. You don't assume, especially in lean startup. You know you are jogging with not so much financial background. So you have to be very, very careful. And you have to do the basic thing by trying to test to know whether what you're doing, what you're going to offer to people will bring you back profit. Testing hypotheses. The hypotheses are these. Design experiments. Create experiments to test specific hypotheses, such as surveys, interviews, or prototypes. 2, collect data. Gather data from experiments and analyze them. Analyze the result. Then analyze the result. Determine whether data support or refute your test hypothesis. For example, let's say you have a hypothesis that customers want a mobile app to track their daily habit. You could test their hypothesis by 1, creating a simple landing page describing the app. Conduct surveys or interviews to gauge interest. Analyzing sign-up rates or feedback by testing hypotheses. You can make the informed decisions about product development and resource allocation. For me, there is nothing like being able to know where you're going to. In the world of business, you don't grow on assumptions. You must be sure that what you are putting up, you have got enough feedback. You have been able to understand, carry out tests, samples, interviews, to understand that it's going to make a headway. Lean startup. I think it's the best method these days, because gone are the days of grandiose as used by our coach. There is no capital. You have to, everywhere, everybody is trying to survive. So the best you can do is to be sure that the little capital you have, you do enough analysis on it, enough tests to understand the waters you are going to navigate on. So for me, testing or test is a very big part of lean startup. There is one of the things that will make you understand the way forward, whether to persevere or to revert, or to revert by same direction, or to continue by changing your quality and what to do. takes to produce those goods or services. So for me, that's it for you. I guess with this, I've said what I can. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, thank you so much, Engineer Ken, for that very concise and insightful presentation about chapter 6 of the book, which is rightly titled Tests. And like you said, the core, one of the core areas of the lean methodology is basically, test, because that's the only way we can learn. It's build, measure, learn. That's the loop. And I think it was Albert Einstein that said that only a mad person or only someone who's probably deranged continues to do same thing in the same way every day and expect a different result. So as a startup, as an entrepreneur in a startup world, the only way you can do things differently is by the time you see those areas and highlight them, that those areas are not working, and then you iterate again, you go again and again and again, you test, you iterate, you learn and you improve. So thank you very much for that. And because we are a bit behind on time, we have 2 more speakers. I would be encouraging our last 2 speakers. I know the last speaker already complained about the time not being enough, but as much as possible, you can use your 10 minutes plus 1 or 2 minutes so that we can also have other people who are on the call manage their time well. Thank you very much. So I'll be ushering in the next speaker in person of Lady Hafsat, who is a first timer in terms of she just joined, a new joiner. But what I mean by first timer in terms of making a presentation. And so we look forward to your presentation. Thank you so much for agreeing at the short notice. I know this was pushed your way just yesterday. Thank you so much. So let me just bring up your slides so that you can carry on. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So thank you very much. You're welcome, Lady Hafsat.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope everyone can hear me.
I can hear you, so I believe everyone can hear you.
Okay. Good evening,
Yes.
everyone.
Good evening.
So, very well. My topic for today is summarizing chapter 7 of The Lean Startup. It's a book written by Eric Ries, and basically the whole book is talking about innovations, entrepreneurs making innovation. That's what the book is talking about, and how it can give them sustainable business growth generally. And from all the speakers that have spoken earlier, they have talked about hypotheses, making sure products are not being produced all at once, identifying the problem and solving the problem. So my topic is themed measure. It explains how startups can measure growth through their business models, that's their business plan, and they carry out actionable experiments using metrics and data generally, thereby understanding where they are starting from at the moment, and then confronting the hard truth where assessment reveals itself. Generally, the team measure with chapter 7 reflects how business model can be realistic. It can be specific, realistic, and it should be measurable, not just lumping up the products and then putting it in writing, expect growth. No, that's not what the writer described. He described measure as measure. Please, the next slide. He described measure into segments like taking accountability, such as tracking of customer profitability, measure acquisition costs, assess repeat purchase rates, as well as succeeding itself. Like the accountability rate should be sustainable. Whatever module plan they have on ground, it should be sustainable. And then he mentioned in the chapter that these business models are different. A marketing, an advertisement model can be different from manufacturing models. So you have to identify your product first. Know what works well for you. That way you'll be able to measure your growth, your challenges, and then your success. The next slide, please. Okay, after being accountable, you have to establish real data. Just like the previous speaker mentioned, we have to be, the startup needs to be realistic in ensuring business models align with achievable goals, such as it paves way for sustainable business growth. Otherwise, there will be no need to even access other options. You have to, your data has to be real. You have to go out, visit your intending customers, know what they want. In fact, he even mentioned in the book that he made example of smoke tests as well as coming up with a prototype of your product. So this prototype of product he mentioned is you can start selling a product that you have not yet produced, thereby testing the market, whether your customers are even interested in that product to begin with. He made mention of that, but then he equally stated that this particular recommendation is not a universal recommendation, because it has to affect your own business personally. It has to be something that will work for you. Then as for the smoke test only gives returns for whether the business, your product interests your customers. It will not identify whether they will purchase it or otherwise. So he recommended that your data should be real generally. Make sure you identify this product and then don't produce it in lump sum, just like the previous speaker stated. He said in the book, making it measurable is that you can produce you can start with one or two products, then reach out to your intending customers, get their feedbacks, take corrections where applicable, and then come back, analyze this data, measure it, and proceed. That way, you will be able to know if you can produce it in lump sum rather than just wasting money and resources in coming up with this product. Please, the next slide. The chapter went further to state that if you have gotten your data, that's the metrics, You have come up with your assumptions, whether the business model may work or otherwise, reaching out to intending customers. You have made efforts to see that this business can kickstart. But then, even getting your metrics right based on your assumptions, and you keep having difficulty to thrive, the business is not going as expected or as planned according to your model, startups must decide when to pivot or persevere. So you are now in the middle of the either you pivot or persevere. That's you have the choice to change the direction, or you continue with that assumption, which under the pivot and persevere, he came up with these stations, like you have to establish your baseline using of the smoke test that I mentioned earlier, validate customer interest. Then the most important thing that he made mention of was that's the first milestone of understanding the measure, the team measure is, if you have to take assumptions, make sure you go with the most riskiest assumptions. Take the first, the one you are most scared of to try for your business. That's what he mentioned. Because if you understand the risk, you will be able to mitigate it in such a way that it gives your business a sustainable future. And then once this has been identified, subsequent assumptions can be tried. Otherwise, if you cannot identify the riskiest assumptions, there's no need to try other assumptions. The next slide, please. Now, after you have established the engine, that's you have taken the metrics, come up with your data, accepted your feedbacks, you can start turning the engine. You are expected to, startup are expected to keep improving the growth model. That's the business plan. Startup are expected to keep coming up with other devices in such a way that they attract customers, both the old ones, new customers, and then what these customers want specifically, so that you can be able, they can be able to design these products for them. Continuous refinement is key to sustainability. The next slide, please. The next slide, please. The 3 A's. Under the team measure equally stated these 3 A's as actionable, accessible, and auditable. The 3 A's, the first one, actionable, is that cause and effect must be clear. That's this report you are getting back as feedback. You have to make it clear, and then work on it. Know what you need to improve on. Know what you need to disengage. Like, you will be able to understand your product more, how it can solve, how it can give value to your customers. And then accessibility. These metrics must be understandable. Whoever you are engaging to come up with this report for you, make sure as you are sharing it amongst your teams, your employees, let them be able to understand the message. Because as a startup, you are not doing it alone. There's interdependency. You have to lean on your employees to make your business a successful story. So he identified that the report should be accessible, meaning it should be understandable, then auditable as well. data should be realistic and verifiable. Don't come and tell your team that according to the data today, you make millions of sales if you produce this particular product. You have to make it verifiable. From so data, from this report, this particular customers would want this, and in the nearest future we will have more sales than lack of sales. So generally the theme measure from the lean startup talks about more of setting standard goals for your business. Like it should be specific, it should be measurable, realistic, attainable, and time bound. Very important. He mentioned that too in the team measure. The startup are expected to be realistic generally. Don't deal, don't deal with assumptions only. You have to tell yourself you want to achieve this goal by setting your own assumptions and then taking them out to assess it. Assess your assumptions. Can it work well for your business or otherwise? That's my conclusion. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh, thank you so much. But do I call you barrister? Or I don't know, how would you call the legal people? I know you have different titles. But last time I checked, Hafsat is a legal practitioner. But here she is, just dishing out this presentation like a business mogul that has been in this business for so long. Thank you very much, Hafsat. Thank you for the learning. I think the last key takeaway from this chapter is, we must ensure that our goals are smart, and ensuring that they are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And that's the only way we can have, realistic or, very viable goals in place. Thank you. I'll just jump quickly to the last speaker because of our time now. In person of, I think I should stop sharing so that she can share. Sorry. Yeah, in person of Miriam Kadri from Dubai. Miriam, thank you very much for your patience. I know people have eaten into your time and you've complained about the time not being enough anyways, but I would also like to appeal to everyone else. We can just give Miriam, the next 10, 15 minutes to give our presentation so we can close, and we'll close really quickly after that. So Miriam, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toyin. Good evening, everyone. I don't have time for introductions, so I'm just gonna go straight. No time.
Thank you. Yeah.
So chapter 8 is the pivot or persevere. Yes. So to pivot or persevere is the defining moment in every startup. Every entrepreneur faces an overriding challenge in developing a successful product or service. Reading and discussing so far, we've learned the lean startup way, which is to start with a vision, create a minimum viable product, run experiments, track innovation accounting, and learn through the build, measure, learn feedback loop. And now we hit the entrepreneur's toughest question. Should we keep going or change direction? And that's also the entrepreneur's dilemma. Every founder eventually stands here. Imagine you've spent months building, testing, and learning. You've invested money, passion, and credibility. Now the data suggests that your big idea may not work the way you thought. Do you double down or pivot? This decision separates companies that scale from those that stall. Should we stick to our strategy or change direction? What's riskier? Chapter 1 to 2 taught us vision and hypothesis, which is a leap of faith, a leap to start. Chapter 3 to 5 so far, MVP and experiments, turning our visions into testable products. 6 to 7, innovation accounting, how to measure real progress. The first chapters give us the tools. We start with the vision, test it through MVPs, measure results, and track learning with innovation accounting. Now, chapter 8, is about making a judgment call with all of the evidence gathered. What is a pivot? A pivot is a structured course correction based on validated learning. It's also a test of a new fundamental hypothesis. Pivoting is not failure. It means you've learned something new, and now you're smart enough to change direction. A pivot isn't starting over. It's building on what you've learned and realigning towards growth. What is persevering? While I was putting this together, I say persevering is we die there. So what is we die there? Staying the course with current strategy, backed by evidence of growth that requires endurance and focus. Persevering is equally important, but only when the evidence supports it. It means sticking with the plan because it's working, not because, I've spent so much time here, all the money, all the sleepless nights. No, you're only sticking to it because it's working. The danger of the living dead. Eric Ries calls those companies that are stuck land of the living dead, since they are not scaling, not growing, but not falling either. They don't die fast, but they keep draining resources. This is often what happens when startups refuse to pivot. Chapter 6 to 7 gave us innovation accounting, numbers that matter, but numbers can't decide for us. Leaders must mix data with vision, intuition, and courage. No perfect formula. The needed metrics and your intuition, bringing it together will make pivoting easier, because pivoting is both science and art. Innovation accounting in action. Oh, my slide went, I'm sorry. Innovation accounting is the compass here. If experiments keep failing, if customer feedback is consistently negative, if growth stalls, that's the data telling you it's time for a pivot. There are 3 questions to ask. Are we learning what customers want? Are metrics improving over time? If not, it's time to pivot. The many types of pivots: zoom in or zoom out, customer segment or need, platform or technology, business model or monetization, channel or growth engine. A pivot is not random, it's structured. It could mean focusing on one feature, zooming in, targeting a different customer segment, switching how you make money, or even changing the technology, delivering your product completely. So there are so many case studies in chapter 8, but I took the one of David Benetti and Vortizen. His background, he was the CEO of Vortizen, who aimed to enhance civic engagement through a technology. The initial product was just a social media network for him, for verified American voters. He developed it with a lean approach to just small money, just small investment. But over a period of time, they pivoted 3 times. First time was they shifted the focus to a lobbying platform at Tugov. It enabled users to contact elected officials directly. Secondly, they refined the platform to facilitate group messaging to Congress, and then that enhanced collective action. Thirdly, they concentrated on tools for political campaigns, leading to acquisition by other causes in 2013. However, for me, my key takeaway on their pivoting journey was because at each pivot, it reduced development time for them. It demonstrated efficient learning and adaptation. It meant that they used the innovation accounting. They checked the metrics. They utilized how many people came back, what were the consumers using more. They utilized the metrics like their activation, the retention, the referral rates, it guided their decision. Then customer feedback, the customers that were engaged, it validated what assumptions they were making or not. And then it helped them refine the product. When to pivot versus when to persevere. Pivot, if growth is flat, customers don't respond, experiments disapprove your assumption, but die there. If learning is real, metrics improve, and customers show demand. There's a rule of thumb. If learning stalls, pivot. If learning grows, persevere. It's that simple, even though it is not easy. There's an emotional side to pivoting. I think the pivoting requires a clear eye and a very objective mindset, which is not very easy to have as an entrepreneur. The emotional side, this is often the most emotional decision for founders. Pivoting can feel like giving up, and persevering can feel like, blind hope or just hoping. But when guided by learning, both are victories. Whichever it is you're deciding to do, if you're learned, if you have checked through with all that you need to, you're doing well. So pivot is courage to change. Persevere is courage to endure. And both of them are a commitment to learning. In closing, I will say, we build tools to test, we built tools to test and measure from previous chapters. And this chapter brings it all together where we learn to decide. Startups win not by never being wrong, but by learning fast, adapting wisely, and having the courage in making the choice to pivot or persevere at the right time. Success is fast learning plus bold decision. Thank you so much for being here. See you at the next week.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Miriam is not a top real estate salesperson or marketer in Dubai for nothing. This is the stuff we're talking about. Thank you so much, Miriam, for that very, very powerful presentation there. I think today we started strong and we ended strong, really. Everybody's presentations were quite on spot, I can sense the sort of work that has gone into these presentations. Even like I said, Hafsat earlier on, last minute, she was still able to pull off something great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you. We've missed you, so come more often. Don't run away like before.
Yeah.
So just because of our time, I want us to close in 2 minutes. I would just like to probably hear from 2 people. Then I would ask if Princess is able to speak. If she's able to speak, she come on board and close for us. If not, I'll do the closing. So our first person is, I can see a Philip Buede. I don't know if I am pronouncing that name correctly. Philip, Mr. Philip, thanks for joining. I think that's the first time I'm seeing that name on the platform. If I'm wrong, sorry about that. But if you can just quickly introduce yourself for a few seconds.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit in a place where noisy
I understand.
here.
Yes,
I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting yesterday.
Oh, you were?
I was on
sorry.
yesterday. I joined yesterday. Yeah.
Notice. Oh, okay. Thank you for joining. Who introduced you? Is it through Coach Sam or someone else?
Princess.
Princess. Oh, okay. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then Ugochi Jane. Ugochi Jane. If you can speak as well, just introduce yourself. Okay, if she's not able to speak from where she is, thank you for joining anyways. And I'll just finally back to Princess. Princess, are you able to speak now? I know you were in a meeting. Are you able to speak? David, thank you for joining. I know you had some funny experience. I wouldn't say it to the old house what happened. So, but thank you for joining still. Yeah. Princess, I'm not sure she can speak, but I would just want to say a huge, big thank you to everyone for joining. We've gone 10 minutes over our usual time. Thank you for still staying. That's perseverance. The last speaker called it died there. Thank you for staying here. We're not dying here tonight. Let's go back and have a wonderful rest with our families. Thank you so much. And we'll see you tomorrow again for another wonderful time now for our presentations. Take care and good night. God bless you all.
Good
Good
night.
night,
I must give it
everyone.
up to Miriam. That was a good one. Thumbs up.
Thank you, Antonia. Thank you very much. Hafsat, well done. You did so
Thank-
well.
Well done, Miriam. We missed you. Thank God you're back.
I'm back. Oh, I'm here. We die here.
Ummi,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Well done, everyone.
have a nice
Good
night.
night,
Okay, bye.
everyone.
Good night,
Good night
everyone.
from here.